Still lives at home. That is not normal.
I've lived upstairs since I was 3.
It's gonna take a stick of dynamite to get me out of my parents' house.
All right. The movie Failure to Launch poked fun at living at home into your adult years. But experts now say living at home for a few extra years actually could allow your brain to become more efficient. Now, Dr. Romy, she joins us again to talk about it, but let's qualify this. We're not talking into our 40s here. We're talking just past maybe college years,
yes,
right?
Yes, correct. We don't need to move back into our parents' homes, Kirsten, to correct our brain problems, right? This actually is a concept called kid adults that about the age of 18 in the United States is typically when children are expected to move out of the home, whether they're going to work or on to college. But University of Pittsburgh psychologists have actually been looking at brain development and that the adolescent years don't end at 18, but believe it or not, about the age of 25.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel like a lot of youngins get into trouble and when you're in college, just because your maturity level, especially for, not to poke fun at the males, but especially for men, you know, they developmentally are they're so far back, and you know, the 15 is probably 13, right?
You know, we're going to get a lot of trouble from our male viewers.
I'm speaking scientifically here. I'm speaking scientifically here.
This study actually does follow both men and women, Kirsten. What it actually shows is parents actually think children are not wanting to follow rules or obey authority, but it's actually a part of the brain that controls impulse. So when children move out of the home, what are two things that they're likely to get involved in? Things like binge drinking, maybe drug use, and alcohol and drugs actually negatively affects the growth of the brain in these critical thinking areas.
So what are the drawbacks of having them stay home?
Oh my, I think there's probably a lot of parents out there that are watching this, but really, you know, other than maybe an additional financial burden, it's the joy of knowing you're helping your children in these few ways, that when children aren't faced with stresses right away of trying to figure out what they want to do in life, how to pay the bills, they actually have been shown psychologically to make wiser choices in figuring out what do I want to do with my life and figuring out the correct partner to marry.
Wow.
Yes.
So it has a lot of influence in a lot of different areas.
It does, but it requires a lot of extra patience by the parents as well.
And how long is too long, really quick?
I don't know. I think that's going to be individual between parents, right? I think if it was my mom and dad, Kirsten, they were ready for me to leave for med school at 18.
All right, Dr. Romy, thanks so much. Back to you, Tom.